Hello, friends, and welcome to Unit 1 of World History A. This unit is going to be all about early civilizations, and I'm not going to lie, this unit goes over a lot of history. Okay, so it's going to be kind of a very bare bones, very kind of scratching the surface view on quite a few different ancient civilizations and how we as modern humans went from kind of hunter gatherer societies into more agricultural and sedentary societies. So, literally thousands upon thousands of human history in this unit. So if you're extra interested in anything, want extra information about anything, please reach out to me. I have a whole bunch of resources. But let's go over what you're going to learn about in this unit. So first thing you're going to learn about is the agricultural revolution. Okay, so this is when we as human beings kind of went from, mostly hunter gatherers to mostly living on farms or in cities and staying in one place. Now, this doesn't happen at the same time all over the world. It happens in the Indus River Valley at a different time than it happens in Mesopotamia, at a different time than it happens in Egypt, at a different time than it happens in the Americas, right? So all of these things happen at different times, but they all have similar kind of revolutions where you go from mostly moving around in a small group to living in larger communities with farms. So that's the first thing you're going to learn about. You're then going to learn about Mesopotamia. And Mesopotamia is very often called the birthplace of civilization. It is one of the earliest places that we start to see like actual cities being built. We see empires starting to rise. So it's where we really start to get what we think of as civilization. You're also, of course, going to learn about Egypt. Egypt was an incredibly important civilization that lasted pretty much unchanged for nearly 3,000 years. So you're going to learn a little bit about early Egyptian civilization. You're going to learn about how they started becoming an agricultural society. And of course, you'll learn about some of their cultural traditions, such as making of mummies. You'll also learn about early Greek and Roman influences as well. So this picture right here is a picture of Alexander the Great and how he conquered a lot of what was called the known world at that time. And then you'll learn about Indian civilization as well. In India, you'll learn a little bit about very early Indian civilization, and then you'll learn a little bit about like the India's caste system and things that actually still have a pretty big impact on India today, which is really important because India is the second largest by population country in the world, right? There are a lot of people who live in India, and so knowing a little bit about their history and their culture is a pretty good thing. You'll also learn about ancient Chinese civilization, and how the Chinese emperors and dynasties came about. And then you'll go over and learn just a little bit about some South American um, civilizations like the Inca and the Maya. You won't quite get into the Aztec because the Aztec are a little bit later, but you'll learn a little bit more about these new world, quote unquote, civilizations as well. Now, again, all of these are happening at different times, obviously in different parts of the world, which means they have different crops, which means they have different building techniques, different cultures, different ideas. But they are all different kind of pieces of this puzzle that is early civilizations and how we got to where we are today. So you'll learn a little bit about each of those pieces. Like I said, you're going over kind of very minimum bare bones about each of these. So if you're like, hey, I thought that the ancient Chinese civilization was really, really fascinating, reach out to me and I can find you some really awesome videos to learn more about Chinese civilization, right? So there's lots to learn. And if you have any questions while you're going through this first unit, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know. One final thing that I do want to talk about is you will have a project in this first unit, but you will get more instruction on that project kind of as we get to that. So just keep that in mind as you're going through, and go ahead and get started with the class. Thanks, guys.